Hey, instead of Steve, please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Blood in, blood out. And don't forget to click on the notifications just so you don't miss any amazing content. All right. This is a video of a lady who's giving some advice to another woman, and she knows exactly 100% what she's talking about. We've got my man Beast Mode Smooth in the bottom right. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and I know what I'm talking about. This is the triumph, what's it? The trifecta coming together. All the stars have aligned. It's like, if anybody knows who this lady is on the left, please let me know in the comments. I will do a lot more of her videos. Talks pure sense in this video anyway. Let's get in.
Showing my homegirl a couple of weeks ago. She called me during lunch. Baby, let me tell y'all something. I am a foodie. I do not like answering the phone whenever I'm eating because I love for my food to be hot. But if I love you, I'll take the phone call. She's upset. She's screaming. She's crying. She's mad. She goes into why she's upset. Then she starts kind of spiraling. She starts saying, you know, I don't need him. Talking about her husband. I don't need him. I can do this alone. I can leave him right now. I'm going to leave him.
Serious question. When did we make it okay to say that you don't need a man? You don't need your significant other. I'm good all on my own. I don't need a man. When did that become okay and acceptable? Serious question. Okay, I expect that type of behavior from single people, not somebody in an actual marriage. Okay, that is scary to think about, but let's keep going.
Each time that she had a break.
I didn't really think about it. I've watched this through like the first couple of minutes, and I heard him say that before, but he's absolutely right. Not only in a marriage, but where we get into this kind of point where we're saying, women saying, I don't need a man. I mean, that's obviously a toxic negative trait, and men are backtracking the men who say the same thing, and that's a toxic negative trait. And so where does that come from? Where does that lead to? Is it necessary? And if we find ourselves saying it or hearing other people saying it, then I don't think they necessarily come from the right place. But anyway, let's go.
And that rant that she was going on, I tried to speak. She wouldn't allow me to speak. My friends already know. I'm the person, I don't like to therapize my friends unless I absolutely need to. But I am really big on helping people understand that sometimes when your emotions are so high, it clouds your judgment and you say very irrational things and you act irrationally. Now, granted, as I'm listening, I realized that what he did, it didn't warrant this reaction. This is something else that's going on. She's going on the deep end, okay? And like I said, I like my food to be hot. So I'm eating, I'm listening, but I really don't like to be disturbed when I'm eating. So I'm like, all right, hold on, honey. You're going to let me speak? You're going to give me a little moment? I'll let you vent. Like, at this point, this is over 30 minutes. I've let you vent. I've let you get it out. Do you want me to say anything? And she's like, no. She's like, I already know what you're going to say. No, I don't want to hear that right now. Okay.
That's love right there. That's friendship love right there. 30 minutes of venting. You just kind of listen, yeah. Doesn't really want you to speak, yeah. 30 minutes. You're going to heaven. You're the highest order. Case closed.
That's fine.
You see, this is how potential echo chambers are formed, okay? Because if she didn't have common sense and critical thinking, she could easily create an echo chamber of he ain't ish. He doesn't deserve you, right? So some of these modern women don't even want a solution. They just want to talk and have somebody actually agree with the nonsense, okay? So the fact that she wasn't allowing her to speak, she already knew that she was going to talk some sense into the situation, but let's keep going.
I've listened to this conversation.
Let's not skip past that. An echo chamber where you don't actually want the solution. You just want to, well, you didn't say this, but you just want to focus on the pain. You want to draw as much pain out as much as possible, which is what it sounds like. But also you don't want any kind of dissenting voices, so you don't actually kind of move things forwards ever. And I think if you're the kind of person who does kind of retreat and just gets, what's it now, shame, insult, guilt, and the need to signs, that's it. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Doing it, you got to recognize yourself doing it and just stop. Recognize yourself. If you do it, men or women, just getting defensive and trying to win instead of trying to just kind of, okay, yeah, maybe you're right on that. Or just let it go. Don't be petty. Don't be petty. That's not going to move you forward or that relationship forward. And being petty is not good. Let's
to you speak and run in circles. And not one time, because it seemed like every time you got quiet, you wanted me to interject. That's what it seemed like to me. But then when I did so, you'll start talking over me. So I told you know what? I'm going to let you figure that out. Whenever you're ready to have a conversation about this and actually work towards a solution, you can call me. But as of right now, I'm going to enjoy my food boundaries. Now, to get to the point, after a couple days passed by, once, you know, she was kind of like resolved in her mind, her temper was better, she was able to actually process things, she calls me. Unfortunately, the damage was already done in her marriage. But she calls me and she says, I need your help. Okay, all right, now we're working with something. Now, let me make sure that I have the capacity to be able to help you. Luckily, that day I did. So she was like, in this situation, Kitty.
Before we go on, the damage is done because of that echo chamber thing that we mentioned before. Not wanting to hear solutions, not from her friends, possibly not from the man, not from anybody, unless she kind of finds herself there. And if she is the kind of person who overly thinks emotionally, you know what I mean? I guess we all can do it from time to time, I guess. Then that's happening all the time, and she just won't listen to reason all the time. Number one, she's not marriage material. You know what I mean? So for that man, you got to think about, what your decision making was going into it and committing to somebody who's that kind of, I don't want to say unstable, but just kind of, well, you just can't win. And it would be the same if a woman's with an emotional man. You know what I mean? There's plenty of those raised in those kind of households without male figures in there, and they kind of struggle. You know what I mean? All the raised to be emotional. Let's not get into that. But anyway, that's the reason why her marriage is in problems, in my point of view, based on the available information. And there may well be other things, but based on what we know, that's my suspicion.
What would you tell a couple? Okay. The main thing is that she kept on saying that she didn't need her husband. My first go-to is, did you tell him that? Did you tell this man that you didn't need him? She says yes. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. How did that go? What was his response? He blew up. Okay, well, if you don't need me, I don't need to be here. They ended up sleeping in separate beds that night, didn't talk to each other for a couple of days. So then I asked her, okay, do you feel like you don't need him? I don't need him. I don't need him. I can do this alone. I'm independent, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So leave him. That's not the answer I wanted, Kitty. Well, stop saying that you don't need him. You married this man. This is your partner in life. Stop telling your spouse that you don't need him.
Okay, the tongue can speak life or death into a situation. It really can. Okay, to say that you don't need your husband, which is probably your best friend if you think about it. Okay, if you guys are married and you live together, obviously, you're pretty much talking about everything, right? So your husband is probably your best friend. He probably knows you the best out of, outside your parents. He probably knows you the best. So to say that you don't need your husband based off of a disagreement, and as we continue the video, maybe she's going to share more light and expand as to what they were exactly talking about. But based on what we know so far, it wasn't even warranted for her to actually say that she doesn't need her husband.
So if you don't know, I'm all about perspectives.
Now, just a second, right? We're talking about adults here, and we're definitely talking about men here, right? So her husband. No person above the age of 12 years old is going to leave just because somebody says they don't need you. But if it is that kind of straw, which kind of pushes you over and you've already kind of made up your mind and it's already backed up by all this kind of toxic behavior or kind of emotional behavior or negative emotional. It's all right to be positively emotional. Oh, you're so amazing. But if it's too much of that negative emotional behavior, which is not based on logic and can't be reasoned with, that may well be it. It's not the fact that she said she doesn't need him. That's just another thing, which is the straw. Let's move on.
So let's look at different perspectives. All right. You say you don't need your husband. All right. You got friends? Yeah. You need your friends? Absolutely, I need my friends. Okay, why do you need your friends? We go down a list. They're my support. Whenever I'm going through things, I can talk to them. We share memories. We laugh together. We go through life together. All of that. Okay, you need your friends. Do you have those same moments with your husband? I hear her smack her lips. No, let's be for real. Let's be for real.
That is a mic drop moment. Your friends do all these support things, yeah? You don't drop them. Your husband does all those kind of support things, but you're kind of more proactively happy to drop him on a dime. There was a time when I actually thought to myself, quite recently, about how people kind of do approach their friends. You know what I mean? How they kind of have these positive relationships with kind of same sex, basically. And I do think it kind of feeds into the expectations. I'm not talking about marriages now. I'm talking about why people, as I say, can have functional relationships. And I think it's just a kind of a change in kind of dynamics about approach and saying expectations on some other stranger, which means that you kind of become toxic. And I mean, from male to female and female to male as well. So it's kind of like reflecting on self and just being reasonable, being your best person going forward to meet people. But anyway, let's stick to this scenario of a marriage.
Do you not share laughter with your husband? Do you not get through life with your husband? Do you not get different perspectives and advice and support and encouragement and things like that from your husband? Yeah. In that moment, you didn't. Or am I mistaken? She goes, in that moment, I didn't. I felt like I wasn't getting the right amount of support. So you just completely cut off your husband and say you're done with him. You don't need him because in a moment he had something that pushed against, or maybe in a moment he had a just human fault, because we're human. He had a moment where he couldn't be the support that you needed. But whenever your friends can't be supportive or they're going through their own things, you don't say that you're going to cut your friends off. I hear her choke up. All right. So I'm like, all right, let me.
Mic drop again. If we know who this lady is on the left, she's bound to. She's obviously got social media. I don't know who the hell she is. I want to know who she is. I want to do a lot more of her content. Listen, if you're gonna, I think for the ladies out there, if you're gonna get advice from anybody based on what she's saying right now, she's talking with pure logic, rationality, and common sense. So this is the person to seek out. I'm gonna try to seek her out somehow if I can. Anyway, if you let me know in the comments if you do.
Lighten up, because I hear she's crying and stuff now. You know, she's trying to hide the fact she's crying, but you can hear about her nose sniffs and all that stuff. All right. And so I'm like, all right, let me slow down with you real quick. Exactly what do you need from me right now? And she was like, tell me exactly what you would tell your couples. So I tell her, baby, men need to be needed. That's where their sense of purpose comes from. That's where a lot of their fulfillment comes from. Men are taught to be protectors, providers, problem solvers, and they want to feel valuable. And so they really need those meaningful connections. That's how they express their love and care. Now, even with these roles, it doesn't mean that they will not drop the ball. They're humans. When we speak of human element, people go through things. People have life experiences, situations that sometimes alter the way they see things. It alters their empathetic responses, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It just means that in that moment, they probably can't give you the response that you actually need.
Yeah, so luckily for her, she had a friend that was actually speaking logic and sense.
Just before he goes in, I think it's not that men need to be needed. I mean, everybody needs to be needed. I don't want to miss what he says, so we'll go back a little bit. It's not men need to be needed, but that's not the reason why. In my point of view, from her acting emotionally, her being her friend, men also value rationality, happiness, and some positive stability in their relationship, and those are the fundamentals. I think we all do. We all do, but you can't hold on to a genie. You know what I mean? If somebody keeps on taking it to the to the negative, irrational too often, everybody loses patience eventually. You know what I mean? It might be quite sweet and kind of a funny thing, and there may be other things which kind of get you along the line. You know, whatever the line is to get married or kind of sustain a long-term relationship. There may be other things, probably the naughty things, the naughty cuddles probably get you across the line, but eventually, though, the annoying things just kind of will be the thing that break you up eventually. So yeah, going back to it, just a quick summary. Yes, men need to be needed. Women also need to be needed. But I think especially, well, at the end of it, the core things, being rational, non-emotional, happiness, and positive stability. Otherwise, house of cards. Anyway, let's go back here with this second house I'm going to say.
People go through things. People have life experiences, situations that sometimes alter the way they see things. It alters their empathetic responses, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It just means that in that moment, they probably can't give you the response that you actually need.
Yeah, so
I agree with that bit as well. Men, nobody's perfect in every single scenario. Let's go.
well, luckily for her, she had a friend that was actually speaking logic and sense into the situation, okay? Because for you to crash out and to end a marriage and to say things that could potentially have permanent damage on the relationship is crazy. It really is. Okay, you're gonna be jumping out the window and crashing out because you guys had one disagreement? Really? Not even communicate about it, not even have a conversation about it, not even go through therapy or couples, you know what I mean? Like nothing of that sort. You just simply want to end the relationship because you're emotional. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's dangerous. Like, for me personally, if I was in that situation, I would be questioning everything. Right? Low key, I would probably be in my head. I probably wouldn't want to say certain things. I probably wouldn't want to open up as much. I probably wouldn't want to be vulnerable as much because it's like, okay, what else are you going to use against me in the future? I'm just saying, right? Like a woman's tongue can do some damage, right? It could really chop you up into pieces because a woman 9 out of 10 times can't take you physically, right? Like she can't beat you up. So for the most part, a woman's gonna use her tongue and hit you where it hurts.
Goes, well, why did he draw back? Why?
Yeah, before we go on, I think he actually made a good point. I'm gonna take the point that he's trying to, that he made in a slightly different direction. If you keep on saying, okay, look, we're gonna end this relationship, or I don't need this man, we're gonna end this relationship, sooner or later they're gonna play your card. You put in that kind of front of mind. You might be just saying it for emotional reasons, whoever it's saying it, man to woman or woman to man. You're saying it in the emotional moment. You keep on saying it, and they keep on processing it in their mind. And if it's 100 times, 99 times may be a no, but that magic number 100 may well be a yes. And then it's kind of like, well, people are actively planning how this relationship can end, you know what I mean? Or probably is about to end, or, you know what I mean? You're kind of on that downward slope. But surely also, aside from that, if you're using those kind of words, there must be some kind of internal check-in mechanism of saying, I probably shouldn't say this. I probably shouldn't say this. But if there's a but I will, that is also where you're going to get into problems. You've got to listen to that inner voice and value it. Don't say it. If you know you shouldn't say it, don't say it. You know that if that person said it to you, you know what I mean? You're going to take it very badly. You know what I mean? Just with a little bit of common sense. Anyway, let's go.
He just walk out. Why did he just stop talking to me? Because you told him you don't need him. If he doesn't feel valued, you simply don't need him. You just hit his confidence, right? You just really took a jab at his esteem. Why is he going to be motivated to do more when you just specifically told this man, in other words, he's not valuable to you? I pull back then and I say, okay, let me not come from a psychological standpoint. Let me talk to you as your sister.
Just very quickly. Yeah, if somebody keeps on telling you that they don't want to be with you, well, you know, they don't need you, you are going to feel kind of undermined in that relationship. You know what I mean? So you're not just going to hurt their feelings. They're going to feel that that relationship is over. Yeah, that's probably going to feed off into many other aspects where they're going to end up having to think, I've got to distance myself from this person because they keep telling me they don't really need me. That's where their mindset is at. And that is where her mindset is at. You know what I mean? So there is some core dissatisfaction in her friend's relationship, and they probably do need some kind of counselling just to get to the heart of it and see if it can be resolved before it's too late. Anyway, let's go forward.
Right. You are a believer of God. When you married your husband, you came together under God, and God granted you that union. So now we need to make sure that we keep this union together, tight-knit, even in these hard moments. We do so. That's your partner through life, through the good and the bad. Your husband is your sounding board during difficult times, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have his own difficult times. And in their nature of being strong, because that's the expectation and that's the way they've been conditioned, men don't always show that. They don't always show those moments of weakness. So from a more biblical standpoint, I said, you need your husband. Let's get into the word. I said, the word says that your husband is supposed to support and guide you and your family to faith. That is in the book of Ephesians, honey. God gave Eve to Adam. Adam needed a companion. But even when he gave Eve to Adam, they both became partners in life. They were one another's support. They loved one another. They processed and went through life with one another, regardless of what happened. You need your husband. That is your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual safeguard. He is the provider and the protector of you, your marriage, your home, baby. Ephesians 5:25 talks about your husband.
I think it is a little bit dangerous to say, well, because there's a religious perspective that you always agree with a man. I'm a man, so it's in my faith. You know what I mean? It's easy for me to go along with it and say, yeah, agree with me on everything. But yeah, if he's been, it does actually sound, we don't know what led her to feel kind of emotionally kind of devalued in that her friend's scenario. But you can't just believe everybody. I don't believe all women. I don't believe all men. I don't believe that men are always right. I don't believe that females are always right. I believe that you base it on the situation and the facts as they present themselves. So it's just a kind of counterbalance to the kind of more religious perspective here, which is harmless. But anyway, that's just my tuppence.
Loving you as Christ loved the church. That's sacrificial love. What better love than sacrificial love to understand selflessness and commitment? We need that as wives. We need to experience that. We need our children to see that. Not only is he your husband, he's your children's father. He plays a significant role in the household. A father's active role in a household is important. In our household, we need support. We need guidance. We need direction that sometimes we as wives and mothers simply cannot give. And the children's father, your husband, is there for moral development. He is absolutely necessary. The word speaks on the importance of a husband and a wife's union. We need that. So she listens and she actually takes it all in and she's like, you know what, Kay, this is why I love you. I can't stand you because you get me together, but I love you. And I say all things with love. My circle, they already know what it is. But let me tell you something, as I would tell any of my clients, when your emotions are high, your judgment is clouded. And a lot of times when we're operating from such intense emotions, we say very hurtful things that are consequential that we cannot take back. We can't take those things back. Be mindful of what you say when you are angry.
All right, guys, so there you have it, okay? So let me know what you guys think, okay? I was letting the video play out a lot longer because she was spitting facts, okay? Couldn't have said it better myself. Why jump out the window and crash out because you had an emotional feeling at that time? Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. And arguably, this is probably one of the reasons why you probably shouldn't allow friends into your relationship. Okay, luckily for her, she had a logical friend that was able to speak logic into the situation. But for the most part, there's going to be single friends that are going to keep other women single. Okay, they're going to provide more emotion on top of emotion when it comes to these kind of situations. I'm just saying, okay, not many women out here are saying that you need your husband, you need your significant other, you need a man. Not many women are saying that. And hopefully the damage is not irreversible to the point where he's not willing to forgive her. Okay, he definitely would be a bigger man than me in this situation because, again, for me, it would be extremely difficult to come back from that. But let me know what you guys think about that. Would you guys allow that to slide and say, you know what, it was one time? Okay, one time, I'm not going to jump out the window. Or is it hard to come back from a woman saying that she doesn't need you? Let me know what you guys think. Give me some feedback. And until next time.
Yeah, he made an interesting point. He was she had a loyal and rational friend, and she's very blessed to have that one that wasn't willing to just go in that echo chamber. But did that friend want to listen to her? And did that friend actually listen to her? And that's the problem, isn't it? But very good video. As to say, this is the trifecta of power. Love these videos. Hope you found that useful. Hope you found that interesting and engaging. Let me know your thoughts. Please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I am out.